Okay, so the next thing I would go over is the actual electrical plan. I would just skim it at first, just go over it and be like, okay, plug switches, kind of do a Where's Waldo. And then before I get too detailed, I go over the electrical legend notes. And I always have my trusty Uglies book, this guy, just to verify, because sometimes you might see something funny, and this one's about as straightforward and clear as possible. But we can just go through these real quick. Hopefully you can see that. Duplex receptacle, they call it a duplex because there's two plugs, like, two apartments duplex. But it's a single plug. Sometimes owners, they don't understand that, but that's what it's called, specifically a duplex. This is a GFI or GFCI, ground fault circuit interrupter. This is a half switch receptacle, so they call these half hots. So that usually what I'll do is I'll put the bottom as the half hot, because then you can access the top plug. And a lot of times in houses, they'll be flipped over. So you'll have 4 plugs, one on each wall per 12 feet of usable wall space. And then the half hot, you'll notice it's different because it's upside down. The ground will be on top. So people will go, oh yeah, this plug doesn't work, or that plug doesn't work. Go, no, it's switched. Anyways, next, WP, or sorry, 4 plug. They actually call that a double duplex. Nobody calls it a 4 plug, except maybe homeowners who don't know what they're talking about. But a double duplex is just 2 receptacles next to each other. Weatherproof is obviously for outside. 220 is going to be for stoves, air conditioners, ovens, things like that. Recessed incandescents are, you don't have recessed incandescents anymore. You have recessed LEDs or recessed luminaires. Surface mount ceiling light is like, you could have a fluorescent on the ceiling or just a dome light. Wall mounted light has this little thing that looks like it's mounted to a wall, makes it easy. Fluorescent light, usually they come in 4-footers or 8-footers, so that's kind of an easy symbol. A single pole switch is just a regular old switch, on off, single pole, and it looks like a $sign. It's an S with a line through it. A 3-way switch, which is where you control one light source at 2 locations, will have an S with a line through it with a 3, either on the bottom or the top or the side. A dimmer, same thing. It's a switch with a little D. Sometimes it says DIM. Most of the time it says D. And then this ceiling fluorescent. Again, these are all LEDs now, but for this job, it has the FL there, so it's pretty easy. And then again, this switch is vacancy sensor. It's still a switch, but it has the VS next to it right there, so it makes it vacancy sensor. SD up here is smoke detector. Now they obviously come with battery backup, and they want them hardwired, and then they want them wired together. So those are 3 wires, black, red, white, ground, and they have to talk to each other. Smoke detector combo unit, which would be carbon monoxide and a smoke detector. You're going to have those as well, but again, it's just 3 wires. Light fan combination light with separate switch. Remember, we went over that in the electrical notes. The fan must be switched separately. It says minimum 50 CFMs with humidistat. That's not a lot. I would do an 80 or a 90 or a 110, but it all depends on the size of the bathroom. But I don't even think Panasonic sells a 50, and I would always go with the Panasonics. They're bulletproof. I've been using those for 22 years. Don't get some cheapie out at Home Depot. I can't even remember the name brand, but Panasonic, you'll never get a call back. J with a circle around, it's a junction box. MP is motion detector with photo detection. So you're going to need that for your outside lights. And this is a wall mounted sconce. Again, it's got a little wall that looks like you would mount a sconce to. All receptacles to be grounded, provide GFCI grounding type at bathrooms and outdoors. Smoke detectors to be utilized and interconnected, which is what I just talked about with the 3rd wire. The red wire goes together. You can tell they didn't spend a lot of money on these plans because it's got verify location of outlets and lights with owners. So that's going to be all predetermined. So how do you bid on it? You don't. You got to go to the first meeting, talk through it, and include that time in your price when you go back. It also says it down here in the notes. verify all height callouts right here, which means, you know, you don't want to bid because if it's fed underneath and it's a handicap compliant place, then the switches are all going to be super low. If you're a guy like me, I like my switches almost at my shoulder height because most of the time they're dimmers and I like to see the adjustment on the dimmer. It's totally subjective. So you really want to get this nailed down and you want to get it on the plans and then you want to let them know. Plans dated, whatever the date is, had this height call out. That's what I'm bidding on. That's what I'm wiring to. So super important to get this stuff, if you can, before you get to a job site, before it's costing you time and before you're planning on purchasing material. Then there's more notes down here. All 120 single phase, 1520, supplying outlets and dwelling units, family rooms, blah, 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 shall be protected with arc fault branch circuit interrupter combination types to protection of the branch circuit. So everything's got to be either arc fault or GFCI. The arc faults go off all the time. You'll probably end up replacing some through the day, but those are much more expensive breakers. So again, when you're bidding the job, you must account for that because it's going to change the cost of the job a lot. A regular breaker is $8 to $9. An arc fault can be $55. And if you're putting 22 of those in, that adds up fast. All the 125 15 amp receptacles in a dwelling unit shall be listed tamper-proof or tamper-resistant receptacles. So again, regular receptacles, $1. Tamper, $4. You have to make sure to put those in. They don't want little kids sticking paper clips in them or their fingers or whatever. So GFI outlets required in all bathrooms. That's all pretty obvious when it's around water. They all got to be GFIs. 125 single phase 1520 amp GFIs within 25 inches or 25 feet of HVAC equipment. Same thing, water outside. Provide receptacles on undedicated circuits in garage, basement, GFCI. Same thing, garages, basements, they all need GFIs. Then again, provide tamper-resistant outlets in all remodels and new areas. Kitchen, provide 2 or more 20 amp small appliance branch circuits in the kitchen. We know that again from both of our handy the Builder's Warehouse fold out and from our Uglies guide that you have to have kitchen 1, kitchen 2 circuit for your toaster ovens, your counter mounted stuff. The bathroom outlets shall be supplied with 1 20 amp circuit each with no other outlets on it. So that one bathroom circuit goes straight to the bathroom and that's it. When they plug their hairdryer in, they don't want anything else tripping. And there shouldn't be any other circuits on that. Laundry branch circuits, same deal. That should be a straight shot home run. And that's for the washer and dryer generally. So those are the legend notes. Again, go over those really specific. And then what you do with those is you're just going to go up to the plan and do a Where's Waldo. And you'll just, the way I do it is I'll go through it. And if anything's confusing or it crisscrosses or none of it makes sense, I have 3 different color highlighters and I go over the lighting in one color. I go over the smoke detectors in another color. It's just totally obvious to you, your workers, and anyone else who's involved. And that'll really clear up all your questions.